Welcome to Literary Journeys with River. Today we reach the grand finale of Percy Jackson and the Olympians with the Last Olympian. This is a complete narrative summary, not the full book, perfect for those who want to relive every moment before the final war. If you love mythology, heroes, and prophecies that shape destiny, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Tell us where you're watching from. Your comments help this channel grow and reach more readers. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Percy is enjoying a day at the beach with Rachel Dare when his peace is interrupted by Blackjack, his Pegasus, and Charles Beckendorf. Their planned mission has finally arrived, to destroy Princess Andromeda, Kronos' ship. Percy says goodbye to Rachel, who tells him she needs to talk to him about something important, and leaves with Beckendorf. Upon reaching the enemy vessel, they infiltrate the engine room and plant Greek fire explosives, but are discovered by Kronos' minions. Percy is brought before the Titan, who now controls Luke's body. Realizing the mission has been compromised, Beckendorf triggers the detonator, sacrificing himself to sink the ship. Percy manages to jump into the sea at the last moment but loses consciousness as Princess Andromeda erupts in a massive explosion. Chapter 2. Percy wakes up in Poseidon's underwater palace, where his Cyclops half-brother, Tyson, informs him that he was rescued from the sea after the explosion. Poseidon's realm is under attack by Oceanus, a Titan allied with Kronos, and Percy witnesses how the war has left the palace in ruins. His father, weakened and aged, explains that the battle against Oceanus has drained him and that the gods are fighting Typhon on another front. Percy insists on staying to help, but Poseidon orders him to return to Camp Half-Blood, as his destiny lies elsewhere. Before leaving, Tyson reminds him that Beckendorf did not survive. Percy resurfaces, leaving his father behind as he prepares for a decisive battle against Oceanus. As he ascends toward the mortal world, he sees the sea darkening with war. Chapter 3. Back at Camp Half-Blood, Percy is greeted enthusiastically until the campers notice Beckendorf's absence. The news of his death casts a shadow over the camp, especially affecting his girlfriend, Silena Beauregard. During the War Council, Chiron finally reveals the Great Prophecy, which predicts that Percy will make a decision at 16 that will determine Olympus' fate. As they process this revelation, Chiron shows them what is happening in the outside world. Typhon has been unleashed and is destroying cities on his way to New York. The gods have abandoned Olympus to fight him, leaving the mountain vulnerable. Percy fears this is a distraction by Kronos and that the real attack is yet to come. With war raging everywhere and a spy among them, the camp must prepare for the final battle. Chapter 4. Percy dreams of Rachel in her lavish Brooklyn bedroom, throwing darts at a portrait of him and worrying about her visions. Her father barges in, and they argue about her future at Clarion Ladies Academy. Rachel reveals an unsettling drawing, the Empire State Building surrounded by an army. Upon waking, Percy wants to call her, but there are no phones at camp. While inspecting the cabins with Annabeth, they review alarming reports of monster attacks and the lack of new recruits. The Apollo and Ares cabins argue over a flying chariot, and tensions among campers rise. Annabeth and Percy argue, and she accuses him of being a coward. During Beckendorf's shroud-burning ceremony, Silena mourns his loss while Clarice refuses to help in the battle. Percy tries to convince her without success and, frustrated, leaves to clear his mind. Chapter 5. Percy finds solace playing with Mrs. O'Leary, his hellhound. In the forest, he encounters Juniper, worried about Grover's disappearance, and Linnaeus, an arrogant satyr unwilling to help. Percy confronts him and forces him to look for news about his friend. Nico appears with a disturbing plan, to make Percy invincible so he can defeat Kronos. Percy hesitates but, remembering Annabeth's words, agrees. First, they must investigate Luke's childhood, as Nico believes his past holds the key. He has tracked down Luke's mother, May Castellan, who lives in Connecticut. To get there quickly, Nico suggests traveling through shadows. Percy mounts Mrs. O'Leary, and guided by darkness, he leaps into the unknown. Just before crashing into a tree, the hellhound dives into an icy shadow, and the world disappears. Chapter 6. Percy arrives at a colonial house in Connecticut, where Mrs. O'Leary collapses, exhausted from the journey. May Castellan greets them in a confused state, calling them Luke, and acting as if nothing has changed. The house is filled with rotten food and memories of Hermes. During their conversation, Percy learns that May was special and saw too much through the mist, leaving her mentally unstable. She reveals that Luke returned before becoming Kronos and asked for her blessing for something related to a river. Suddenly, her eyes glow green, and in a distorted voice, she desperately pleads for her son. Percy and Nico flee and encounter Hestia, the goddess of the hearth, who gives them food and advice. She reminds Percy of his role in the battle, but the prophecy continues to haunt him. Finally, Hestia magically transports them to Percy's home, where his mother, after a difficult decision, gives him her blessing. Chapter 7. Percy and Nico depart for the underworld from Percy's house, traveling through the shadows with Mrs. O'Leary. Arriving at an old railway tunnel in Central Park, Nico leads them to one of the secret entrances to the underworld. There, they encounter a spirit named Ephraim, who tries to block their way, but Nico convinces him using his authority as a son of Hades. In Tartarus, they witness the condemned souls, wandering spirits, and the judges of the underworld before finally reaching Hades' palace. Nico seems uneasy and suddenly betrays Percy, instructing the guards to seize him. Confused and furious, Percy is taken before Hades, who mocks him for falling into the trap. The god of the underworld plans to imprison Percy until the war is over, ensuring that he cannot fulfill the prophecy and threaten Hades' own power. Chapter 8. Locked in a cell in the underworld, Percy demands answers from Nico, who admits that his plan was to deliver him to Hades so he could keep him imprisoned until Kronos was defeated. Nico believed this would prevent Percy from dying while fulfilling the prophecy. Percy feels betrayed but understands that Nico only wanted to help. Meanwhile, Hades boasts that he will soon reign over the other gods. In his cell, Percy dreams of Kronos' army marching toward New York, with monsters organizing in subway tunnels and sewers. He also sees Rachel on St. Thomas Island, compulsively drawing while her father ignores her. Upon waking, he convinces Nico to free him, reminding him that if Kronos wins, his father will be next. Nico agrees, but their only hope of escaping lies in finding Persephone and her sisters, who might help them without Hades' knowledge. Chapter 9. Percy and Nico search for Persephone in Hades' palace, where they encounter the minor goddesses Melano and Macaria. Melano, goddess of ghosts, shows them terrifying visions of their worst fears. Percy sees Annabeth falling into the void, crying for help, and his mother mourning his death. Nico faces the vision of his sister Bianca, reproaching him for seeking revenge. They manage to overcome their fears and finally find Persephone, who reluctantly agrees to help. She gives them a shard of Hades' spirit, a dark crystal infused with the god's energy, which will supposedly make Percy invincible if he survives the ritual. However, the process will be extremely dangerous. Nico and Percy escape the underworld before Hades discovers them and prepare for the next step in their plan. Percy cannot shake the feeling that he might not survive what lies ahead. Chapter 10. Percy and the Demigods plan Manhattan's defense while the city sleeps under Morpheus' spell. With the help of Argus and Annabeth, they use a surveillance shield to track Kronos' army, discovering that the invasion is coming by both land and water. The campers are assigned to different bridges and tunnels to block the enemy's advance, but Percy realizes that the rivers must also be sealed off. Just as they seek reinforcements, Talia and the Hunters of Artemis arrive to assist. Determined to fulfill his mission, Percy descends into the waters of the Hudson and East River, confronting the river gods. In exchange for a $1, he convinces them to sink enemy ships and block access. As he emerges from the water, Annabeth informs him that the Minotaur is leading the charge on the Williamsburg Bridge, forcing Percy to face his old enemy once again. Chapter 11. Percy and Annabeth ride Pegasi to Williamsburg Bridge, where the Minotaur leads an assault with a horde of monsters. The Apollo cabin fights back with explosive arrows, but they are outnumbered. Percy challenges the Minotaur in combat and, using a mix of strength and strategy, defeats him by cutting off his horns and throwing him into the void. Encouraged by their victory, the Demigods counterattack and push the enemy back to Brooklyn. But then Kronos appears and joins the battle with his scythe. Percy orders a retreat and directly confronts the Titan, using his powers to split the bridge and stop the enemy's advance. Before leaving, Kronos promises to return at nightfall. As Percy realizes that Mycaleu has vanished in the destruction of the bridge, he feels a mix of fury and despair. Then, he receives an urgent message. Annabeth is seriously injured. Chapter 12. Percy takes Annabeth to the Plaza Hotel, where the Demigods have set up their base. Solace treats her wound, but the dagger's poison weakens her. Silena decides to return to camp to get reinforcements. Exhausted, Percy falls into a deep sleep and witnesses the tragedy of Nico and Bianca D'Angelo. He learns that Zeus killed their mother to prevent the prophecy and that Hades cursed the oracle, preventing it from having a new host. He then dreams of Rachel, who, after receiving a vision at the beach, convinces her father to return to New York. Upon waking, Talia informs him that a Titan has arrived with a message from Kronos. Chapter 13. Prometheus arrives in Central Park with an offer of surrender for Percy. Accompanied by a Hyperborean giant, an Impausa, and Ethan Nakamura, the Titan claims that the gods will soon fall and that fighting is useless. Percy rejects his proposal, but Prometheus leaves him Pandora's jar as a symbol of the choice he must make. He then touches Percy's forehead and shows him a vision of Luke's past, his difficult childhood with his mother, May Castellan, and Hermes' abandonment, knowing Luke's tragic fate. When Percy snaps out of it, he is disturbed but remains firm in his decision to fight. Before leaving, Prometheus warns him that Kronos has spies in camp and that his army is unstoppable. Percy feels the weight of the prophecy on his shoulders, but is determined not to surrender, even as hope for victory seems to fade. Chapter 14. Percy confesses to Talia what he saw in Prometheus' vision about Luke, but she warns him not to pity him. While resting, Percy dreams of the war at sea and the siege on Camp Half-Blood, where the Titans are planning their next move. He wakes up just as a monster army advances towards Central Park, led by Hyperion. In the middle of battle, Kronos unveils his surprise, a giant winged pig that begins destroying the city. Percy takes off after it, riding Blackjack, and after an aerial chase, he uses an animated statue of Hermes and the library's lion statues to defeat it. Though he succeeds in his mission, he knows the enemy is still advancing. Exhausted, he returns to his friends, fully aware that the worst is yet to come. Chapter 15. The battle for Manhattan intensifies, and Percy, alongside Annabeth, fights against the Titans. However, their forces are overwhelmed, and Kronos advances with his army. Just when all seems lost, the sound of hunting horns announces the arrival of the Centaurs, led by Chiron. Their surprise attack disrupts the enemy lines and forces the monsters to flee. After regrouping, Chiron warns that Kronos has not yet been defeated and that Typhon is about to arrive. Percy grows anxious upon finding his mother and Paul unconscious in their car due to Morpheus' spell, with Pandora's jar in the back seat. At that moment, a helicopter bearing Rachel Dare's logo appears in the sky and starts to plummet. With no time to process everything, Percy and Annabeth mount a Pegasus, ready to save their unexpected visitor. Chapter 16. Percy and Annabeth fly on Pegasus to rescue Rachel Dare, whose helicopter is spiraling out of control. Annabeth manages to grab onto the aircraft while Percy and Guido, the Pegasus, plummet toward the ground. Despite the fall, Percy survives and watches as Rachel stabilizes the helicopter and lands it with Annabeth's help. Rachel reveals that she has been having strange visions and delivers an unsettling message to Percy. "You are not the hero." Though Percy doesn't understand its meaning, Chiron takes Rachel's words seriously and promises to help her understand her gift. Exhausted, Percy agrees to rest at the Empire State Building. In his dreams, he witnesses Nico arguing with Hades, trying to convince him to join the fight. He then sees Kronos ordering an attack with an invincible Draken, knowing that the demigods won't be able to defeat it without the Ares cabin. Percy wakes up just as the Draken's roar shakes the city. Chapter 17. The Draken attacks and Percy, Annabeth, and the centaurs struggle to contain it, but it is too powerful. Rachel, with a prophetic vision, insists that only a child of Ares can defeat it. Suddenly, the Ares warriors arrive, led by an enraged Clarice, who charges at the monster with her war chariot. However, Percy realizes that the girl is not Clarice but Silena Beauregard in disguise, trying to rally the Ares cabin to fight. When the Draken strikes her with its venom, the real Clarice arrives, furious and devastated. With overwhelming power granted by Ares' blessing, she drives her spear through the Draken's eye, slaying it. Before dying, Silena confesses that she was Kronos' spy, deceived by Luke. Clarice mourns her loss but swears vengeance. As Percy organizes the defense of the Empire State Building, he contacts Poseidon from his throne, urging him to leave his palace and join the battle. Though reluctant, the sea god agrees. Chapter 18. Kronos leads his army, and Chiron, using his last arrow, tries to stop him but fails. The Titan hurls him against a building, burying him under the rubble. Annabeth, enraged, attacks Kronos, but her dagger has no effect, and she is wounded. Just as Percy prepares to fight, Nico arrives with an army of the dead and Hades in his chariot, ready to join the battle. Kronos remains unfazed and creates a magical barrier that isolates the Empire State Building, separating Percy and his friends from the larger conflict. Outside, mortals awaken to chaos, including Sally Jackson and Paul Blofeld, who rush to help. Paul surprises Percy with his impressive sword skills, while Sally takes down a giant with a shotgun. Nico and Hades engage the enemy army, allowing Percy and the others to chase Kronos, who has already entered the Empire State Building's lobby. Before pursuing him, Percy orders Mrs. O'Leary to search for and rescue Chiron from the rubble. Chapter 19. Percy, Annabeth, Talia, and Grover reach Olympus as the bridge supporting them crumbles. They manage to cross just in time, leaving them stranded. The city is in ruins due to Kronos' rampage, and he orders the complete destruction of Olympus. As they advance, a marble arch collapses on Talia, trapping her under Hera's statue. Unable to free her, Percy promises to return and continues toward the palace with Annabeth and Grover. Inside, Kronos mocks them, questioning Percy's fate. The battle begins, with Annabeth facing Ethan Nakamura while Percy fights the Titan. Ethan turns against Kronos, but his attack fails, and he is killed. Percy holds his ground, but Kronos overpowers him until Annabeth intervenes, appealing to Luke. At that moment, Luke regains control, allowing Percy to hand him the dagger, which he uses to sacrifice himself and destroy Kronos. Chapter 20. The Fates take Luke's body, revealing that his destiny was always to die as a hero. Hermes, devastated, bids farewell to his son. Percy reflects on the prophecy and realizes that Luke was the true hero. Annabeth, injured, is healed by Apollo. As Olympus is repaired, the surviving demigods gather. Nico is welcomed as a hero, and Tyson is praised for his role in the battle against Typhon. During the council, the gods reward their children. Talia receives support for the hunters, Tyson is named General of the Cyclopes, Grover is promoted to the Council of Cloven Elders, and Annabeth is chosen to redesign Olympus. Finally, Percy declines the offer to become a god and instead demands that all demigods be acknowledged and trained. The gods agree to his request, and as they depart, Tyson proudly declares Percy the hero of Olympus. Chapter 21. As he prepares to leave, Percy finds Hermes watching images of the destruction in New York. They talk about Luke, and Percy assures him that his son loved him. Still grieving, Hermes agrees to acknowledge his other children. Athena confronts Percy for rejecting immortality and warns him about his future with Annabeth. At the Empire State Building, Percy reunites with his mother and Paul, who were worried about him. Their peace is interrupted when Nico arrives with urgent news. Rachel has taken Blackjack and is heading to Camp Half-Blood, insisting that she must get there no matter what. Chapter 22. Percy, Annabeth, and Nico rush to Camp Half-Blood after discovering that Rachel has stolen blackjack and crossed the magical borders. When they arrive, they find the big house shrouded in green mist, with Rachel standing before the mummified oracle. Apollo appears and confirms that Hades' curse on the oracle may have been lifted. Rachel accepts her destiny and allows the spirit of Delphi to possess her, causing the mummy to crumble. In a trance, Rachel recites a new great prophecy about 7 demigods, an oath, and the doors of death. Apollo warns that it could take decades to unfold, but Percy remains uneasy. Later, on the beach, Annabeth surprises Percy with a blue cake for his birthday. As they celebrate, he confesses that she is his reason for choosing mortality. They kiss, only to be interrupted by campers who cheer and toss them into the lake. Chapter 23. Camp extends for 2 more weeks, with new demigods arriving from around the world. Grover leads the search for half-bloods, and new cabins are built for minor gods. Nico constructs Hades' cabin with the help of undead workers. Percy bids farewell to Poseidon, who thanks him and jokes about sending him more siblings. During the final ceremony, campers receive a bead with the names of the fallen. The next day, Rachel leaves for her boarding school but hints that Percy and Annabeth should be together. Annabeth stays in New York to oversee Olympus reconstruction. On Half-Blood Hill, they reflect on the prophecy and the uncertain future. Percy challenges Annabeth to a race, and they run down the hill together, not looking back, savoring the present. We've reached the end of The Last Olympian, where Percy proves that being a hero isn't about being invincible. It's about choosing love and humanity over power. Thanks for staying with us through this journey from start to finish. If you enjoyed this summary, subscribe, like, and share so more people can discover the world of demigods. Tell me in the comments, what did you think of Percy's final decision? Would you have accepted godhood? See you in the next summary.